We need intro music.
All right, welcome back.
Yeah, we do.
Welcome back. Another edition of the History Buffs. You got KDL alongside Austin from New London. Not yet KDL. Appreciate
Not yet
that.
on KDL.
But the Ned Snark, yes, not yet on the list. Working for it. And newly on the list. And just a beaten dog, a shell of a man after what happened to him on the last episode of the show. If you haven't seen it, go back and check it out. You will never look at R.A. Minahan the same way. Welcome back, gentlemen.
I'll just say this: because of the Electoral College, the Capitol got stormed. So,
I'll say this because of the beat.
I'm sorry. What was going on that they were so concerned about counting the electors?
Counting the electors. But Spin Zone, the previous 45 times that happened, there were no issues, and that was what the Electoral
College. Doesn't matter.
So I'll take one out of every 40.
I will say that it was a stroke of good luck that I took that stance, and then that happened. So
you think history will look back kindly on your?
I think so.
Hey, hold on a minute too, KDL. We also have to mention he's a Blobe Award winner. Blobey.
I'm a Blobe. Yes. I won a Blobey. I'm on the death list. I've had a hell of a
you got Corona.
Yeah. I had the Wuhan bat plague.
The bat plague.
The Rona and everything. I mean,
I'm a survivor. I'm a survivor.
Christmas and Hanukkah.
Hanukkah, yeah. I'm on a roll. Roll.
A classic Renaissance man in the true sense of the word.
Tell me about it.
Is blessing us with his presence this evening. We thank you for being here, R.A.
And I think you finished the cellar too, right? Is the cellar finished, R.A.?
What? Oh, it's getting there.
I thought
we're almost there.
At least
all the drywall's pretty much up.
Yeah, at least there's some drywall up.
That's all you can ask for. All right, so we're wrapping up our Constitution series, and really, gentlemen, I think we couldn't have picked a more appropriate topic for the times with everything going on. We're going to be looking at the amendments tonight, and it's going to be. I think we're gonna talk about fun amendments, our favorite amendments, least favorite amendments, and amendments are fun. I have fun with them. I like looking at them. I like learning about my rights.
I'm a big amendment guy.
Yep, most of them, right? All right.
Yeah, most.
Yeah. Okay.
I only got numbered ones. I'll leave it like
that. But we figured we would talk a little bit about what's in the news lately, some current events with the discussion of using the 25th Amendment, and even as Austin from New London brought to us before the show, the 14th Amendment. You want to talk about that a little bit, Austin? We'll start with the 14th and go to the 25th because that's a little bit more in the news.
Yeah, so I was reading a Wall Street Journal article this morning, and they were talking about invoking the 14th Amendment. I believe it's the third section or clause in it to try to remove Ted Cruz and who's the other senator that was trying to
Hawley from Missouri.
Yeah, so that section of the 14th Amendment says if you are insurrection against the United States, you cannot serve in the government. And so that obviously the 14th Amendment also freed the slaves, so it was made right after the Civil War. So the goal
Toby again.
So the goal of it was to obviously make sure that no Confederates could serve in the U.S. government. But some people are trying to accuse Ted Cruz and Hawley of trying to make
insurrection.
Of insurrection.
Of insurrection.
Accusing them of insurrection.
Not only some people, there's members of Congress and the Senate.
I believe it was fudge. I just.
But the last part of the sentence.
Look at it. I thought I heard that too.
I did say fudge.
It says any of these senators or government officials shall have engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the same, meaning the federal government, or given aid or comfort to the enemies thereof. But Congress may by a vote of 2/3 of each house remove such disability. So they have to prove that he gave. That he himself engaged in insurrection or rebellion, false, and that he has given aid or comfort to the enemies of the United States. So what he has to, did he let him stay in his office when they invaded the Capitol?
It's Cory Bush.
Antifa who did that.
Cory Bush is the senator that's trying to push this forward, and it's just escalation. It's reactionary to the whole everything that's going on. None of it is going to stick. Right. In addition, 2/3 of the Senate has to vote to kick them out, and still at least half the Senate is Republican. So
now I do wonder is this something you could push to? Although I guess it wouldn't matter because you said it needs to be 2/3. It's not a majority; it's 2/3. Okay, so I was going to say if you pushed it to the next to post inauguration,
no, it doesn't matter. It's still stupid. Yeah. You would need to shift a lot of Republican senators to do that. It's just not going to happen.
Right.
Although Mitch McConnell just came out and said that he's glad the Democrats are shooting for impeachment because he thinks that Trump committed impeachable offenses.
I think he's doing that just to save face, though, because I think he saw
probably. But I think the big tell was when his wife resigned. When his wife resigned, that was kind of like this is what Mitch is actually.
You think he's getting some flack from home?
I also think
maybe, but I think that's how he's been feeling the whole time. But he's been kind of saving face just for the Republican Party. But I don't know.
Right.
There's a few other Congress people that are on the right that are saying that they would vote for impeachment.
Yeah.
I think it might be a smart political move for the Republicans to do it, which is, I mean, it's weird to say, but like in 2024, Trump's going to run again, and he's going to split the Republican Party. They don't want him to do that, so it's might be better for them in the long run to impeach him to make sure that he can't run again in 2024.
I don't think he's going to run again.
I don't think so either.
No, he's a crazy man. I think anything's possible.
I think he's unpredictable at this point.
He's 78.
How old's Biden?
Biden's
77.
Yeah.
He actually just turned 78.
Okay, so he just turned 78.
November.
Yeah.
So
I'm not sure. I think Trump will continue to think that the election was stolen from him. Then he has a strong base, and he does have a strong
4
base.
years though.
Yeah,
he can't even be angry on Twitter anymore.
I think he'll be a kingmaker.
I don't think so. Not at this point.
Not at this
point. He screwed himself. He screwed himself. I think that if people want to wash their hands of Trump at this point, especially like the Republicans in Congress, they want to just get rid of the association. He's toxic.
Today.
So they would impeach him. And then,
I don't think he's going to run again. I think he'll be too old. He
won't be able to.
But I think I understand they're doing that to prevent him from running again. I don't think he's going to run again. What I'm saying though is he will be able to push forward a candidate. He's got a huge base, and you don't need to be in office to have a huge base.
But then impeaching him wouldn't really matter though, because if he was promoting another candidate, then it would still split the party either way.
It would.
Yeah, I think
part of it's also just if they want to set the precedent, like if you commit impeachable actions, regardless of if you've got 5 days left, if you have 2 years left, like you should be impeached either way.
Yes, but I think the counter argument to that would be there are only days left.
Days.
So if you really want unity, wouldn't it be, hey, he couldn't be there has been more of a lame duck president in history, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wouldn't you just let him ride off into the sunset? That's my biggest thing. Is you see, that
they want blood.
Yeah, it's this.
I think if Biden doesn't do something, he's going to lose his base, and I think that a lot of his base, his Democratic base,
which base though? The more populist Democrats, or are we talking like the left wing of his party?
I'm saying like the people who voted for him because they hate Trump.
Okay.
I think that if he doesn't, go for the throat, or if the Democrats don't go for the throat, they're going to lose a lot of their support. Like it's just a terrible, terrible way to start his term.
So he goes for the throat and keeps his base by going for the throat, but then he also loses the other half of the country because he's completely alienated him in the process. Like it's a no-win situation.
It's a catch-22 for him. I mean, he's in a terrible spot.
But I think he can just play the card of, I'm not in office yet. I can't do
right.
It.
Exactly.
I said my statement, but what can I do?
What can I do?
I'm not saying right. I'm saying even in 2 weeks from now, if the Department of Justice is like, hey, we've got a case against him, and if Biden says, listen, it's probably not in our best interest, he's gonna catch
a case against him. He'll already
a case to for Trump if they were able to pin him for something.
A criminal case
for criminal charges.
I also read something somewhere. They were talking about
very specific.
push. Yeah, I think it might have been the Wall Street Journal also. But pushing forward articles of impeachment now, and they might not get filed until after Trump is gone from out of the office, it would be unprecedented. So the Supreme Court would have to rule on it. But the goal would basically to be make sure that he couldn't run again in 4 years. That
once he's out, he can't be impeached.
Yeah, no. So that
president.
Yeah, so it's more to make sure that he can't run again. Again, it's purely just that for that goal.
I don't think I think that's purely what it is, to prevent him from rearing his head again, and maybe the last kick out the door. But there's what's today, the 12th, right?
12th.
8 days, including weekends. So unless they call special sessions to come in to vote on impeachment, they don't have enough time.
Yeah, no. But yeah, the article I read is saying that they might try to keep the articles going until after he's gone, just to make sure that he can't run again. It would be unprecedented, and then
can they do that?
Well, that's the whole point. Is that it's unprecedented, and you don't know if you could do it. The Supreme Court would have to help rule on.
It's what's called a constitutional crisis, because there's no.
He's talking about pardoning himself.
Which would also because there's no
constitutional. Yeah,
himself
he's
and his
been
family,
the reports are saying he's been asking his legal team
this was discussed. This was discussed before January 6th, though.
Yeah, a long time.
He's been talking about it, which is a good sign.
Because from in his mind, he's fearful of being
I would
being convicted of stuff or accused of stuff after his presidency for whatever. Who knows what?
So we're becoming like a Latin American country. We're going to put the former president on trial for what he did. Yeah, that's good.
It's going to happen.
It's a banana republic already. So let's just
my uncle. I was just in Utah with my family. My uncle came out and he said,
"What the hell's going on, all right?"
What? Toby dropped by.
Someone's dragging a body downstairs.
Exactly. Nah, that's just Toby making a.
That's why he's finishing the basement. He's putting bodies in the wall.
You can see the giant hole behind me.
Yeah.
The foundation.
Go ahead, Austin.
I was saying, my uncle was saying that he thinks that Trump's going to have to leave the country to not face legal action.
Oh, he's going to have to seek asylum somewhere.
Yeah, I'm just like
that's crazy.
I'm like, I don't know. That seems a little nuts to me.
Easy peasy.
Spain. Would anyone take him in?
No extradition treaty.
There's no extradition treaty
everyone.
with Spain.
Russia would take him in.
And Marbella. No, you could. Yeah, Russia.
Marbella, the insurance company.
No, Marbella, Spain.
Oh,
right there on the Mediterranean. I said Marbella.
So that brings me to my biggest issue with this whole thing is I don't know who watched what, and I just happened to be. I had it on the news anyway during the day. I happened to see literally the whole thing, from Trump speaking on. You could see the order of events throughout the day, and I don't know how anyone who watched that and wasn't like, okay, clearly there's an issue. This guy's at the very least problematic with what he says. He shouldn't be president. Is not fit to lead anymore. The whole thing. That's a moment where I feel like a vast majority of the country can agree on. Or at least look at that and be like, okay, I get it. It's time to, enough is enough. That's way over the line. But then you get what feels like an overreaction to a lot of people watching it of, we have to impeach him. We have to remove him now. We have to do that. And it's this feeling of, like Austin said, being out for blood that I feel like it's passing, or it's ignoring a potential moment of unity for the country where everyone can kind of get behind and be like, yeah, that was crazy. We should definitely never let that happen again. What you say matters, the tone of yourself, the way you present yourself, that all matters, especially when you're the leader of the free world. Let's remember those lessons and move on together. Whereas now with what the left's doing, it's polarizing things more and more. At least it feels that way from someone who's kind of step back or move, kind of seeing both sides, almost feel like eat themselves. It's tough for me to understand watching it. How you could pass up something like that when they claim they want unity. Biden's been saying it since after since January or February, November 3rd.
So we were talking about the social dilemma before we came on, and I think the social dilemma talks about the social media companies' business model, where it's
if you haven't seen it, check it out. By the way, it's eye-opening. It makes you at least makes you self-aware of what's going on. So when something happens, you're like, oh, okay, at least that you can understand, which is nice. Go ahead.
But so their whole business model is to make everything more and more inflammatory, because making people outraged keeps them viewing and it gets them more viewership. I think it's almost become like a habit cycle for us. It's like, okay, let's just keep looking for outrage. That's what's going to keep our attention span. And social media, the big tech companies just did that again. They're like, this is our business model. We're going to keep it going. We're going to ban Trump. We're going to ban Parler. We're going to ban everything. We're going to create outrage on one side and outrage on the other based on everything. It's just a habit now. Like whether or not we know it or not, like it's just a habit at this point.
Oh no, it's an endorphin. You're feeding up. And Ari was saying that he dropped Facebook in 2017. I dropped it.
I dropped it a while ago.
I dropped it in like 2014, I think. Because I saw too, like just getting like kind of inflammatory when it wasn't supposed to be that. And then I noticed it was like a feeding, like a cycle. And once you break it, you know, like we said, if it wasn't for the Kirk Minahan show, I would have dropped Twitter like probably 2 years ago. It became so garbage filled, right?
Yeah. I mean, I personally just deleted all social media for a while. I just wanted to get away from it
for a while.
Yeah, I'm not going to
leave it. Don't come back. Really?
Yeah,
except for the girl in Australia, you know.
yeah, your friend from Australia.
Yeah,
send her a letter. Send her an email.
Oh, that'd be classy.
Letters have to play in 2021. A nice handwritten letter that has to play, right?
That would be classy.
It has to play.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Might have to do that.
Nice.
Going on the big tech idea. I know we're completely off the rails, and I figured we'd get here. It usually happens. But Twitter released a statement today about the Ugandan elections. Did you guys see this?
No.
Twitter statement today about the Ugandan elections. Ahead of the Ugandan election, we're hearing reports that internet service providers are being ordered to block social media and messaging apps. We strongly condemn internet shutdowns. They are hugely harmful, violate basic human rights, and the principles of the #open internet.
My human rights are being violated because I can't fucking use the internet.
On Twitter.
Nice fucking try.
So it's and again from someone who sees the insanity on both sides, it is crazy to me that Twitter removes the president. And you say he's inciting violence. Okay, I guess. I mean, sure. If that's your angle, fine, no problem. But then you go with another country and say, well, they're banning people. They're not letting people talk. They're shutting people out. That's wrong. Yeah. We can't have that.
Because it's us.
You also can't tell me that Twitter wasn't involved in getting Parler banned from Amazon and stuff like that either. Like they're all in cahoots with one another. It's the hypocrisy is insane.
Well, it is, and it is a business, and that's what people point out when it comes to like the First Amendment. You know, it's not restriction of freedom of speech if it's a private business. Well, that's true. And if you want, and if people are unhappy about that, and you want the business to speak, you shouldn't use a platform. So good for you, also, for getting off of it. You're not thrilled with the content you're seeing, what's being shown to you, or the way the platform operates. So get off of it.
Yeah.
So is Parler really shut down? Because I'm showing a networking error. It seems that we are either over capacity or you're experiencing a poor network connection.
Yeah,
both of which should be true.
I don't know if it was the app was removed from Google Play and Amazon and
no Apple. Amazon stopped giving.
I think they were using a free trial of like their of whatever they either web-based platform or whatever. Like the back end of it was a free trial. And I think their free trial also expired while all this was going on. Not even kidding.
Oh, bad timing.
Yeah.
Oh, bad. Poor play. You know, my chief of planning and marketing, you're fired. What the hell?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But like you said, KDL, like it's not a First Amendment issue because they're a free company. But along with Twitter banning Trump and Parler getting banned, was it Stripe is like the internet company that you basically pay through them. They're not allowing the Trump campaign to raise any more money.
Anything Trump related.
Yeah, Twitch took Trump off of him. It's going to come down to, it's like, okay, if you think differently than us, you're not allowed to use our platform, and now you're going to have right-wing people having to create like their own bank. It's going to get all the way to that. And you're going to have to create every system that's already out there and cater it to the right wing, because eventually, like, it's a slippery slope. Like, it's a long way before you get there. But if you start going down this, it's going to eventually get there. Where, like, if you think differently, then you're not allowed to use my stuff.
Right. And part of my
shame on all of us, because we've allowed this to happen, because we've allowed monopolistic tech companies or an oligarch tech companies. I don't know what the term is.
It is. No, it would be an oligarchy.
It's an oligarchy of technology.
One person in Silicon Valley has more power than the president in terms of getting messages out.
or any real government leader. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
But shame on us for allowing this to happen, because we could all see it coming. I mean, really, guys, technology hasn't made our lives at the local level that much easier. I mean, it's not better, right? But for the given flow of information, we've allowed too few companies to control too much information, and now this is what happens.
Right.
So it does have to be blown up, and maybe have a decentralized internet.
I also don't think that
Silicon Valley season finale.
Congress can't regulate what they don't understand.
That's correct.
Like if you watch Mark Zuckerberg talk to who's the super old guy from fucking Iowa?
That was my favorite one. He's like,
Grassley,
how do you make money?
They're like Mark Zuckerberg's explaining the internet to 70-year-olds. It'd be like me trying to tell my grandparents how to use the internet, and the super technical behind the scenes stuff, and they're just like, oh, okay, yeah.
Right.
Like they understand. So I don't think they'll ever be, unless you've got unless you get some of them, if you flip some of them and get some of them to work for the government and be the ones questioning them and making the policy decisions, you're never going to be able to regulate it.
Why would they ever work for the government? They're never going to make as much money as they do in Silicon Valley.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. So I don't think you'll ever be able to regulate it. No. Not until you've got people, until the lawmakers know what they're even looking at.
You can compete against
why now? My question would be why regulate though?
Right.
Well, like Ned said, it's a monopolistic practices, right?
So yeah, you could, but then so it fractures, and then you have conservative Twitter, liberal Twitter, populist Twitter,
and then you're just creating more echo chambers where people are just going to be bouncing the same ideas and becoming more and more radical there.
No, I think that
is for me. Austin's got a good point. That is
true. That's what happened. It would create more fast.
I mean that's what we're seeing now, is that Twitter is becoming more and more left. And if Parler was allowed, you would but it's going even farther than it already is. And if Parler was allowed to exist, it would be farther and farther right. With just people talking to each other about the same thing. They're just going to convince themselves that they're right, and then you're just going to have crazy polarization in this country.
But the problem with it is, I just like the Kirk Minahan world and my Grateful Dead world on Twitter. Just give me that and leave me the fuck alone.
Right.
Instead, you've got these feeds from someone who forwarded, who liked and retweeted a message from someone that they liked. That's either with you and what you believe, and then you're kind of I fucking don't care, or it's there just to piss you off. You know. So it's let me hang out with my friends. I don't want any more of your friends.
Right.
So, but I do think though that if it's deemed a monopoly, it should be broken up like Standard Oil. Of course, all those companies became
Exxon and
oligarchy as well. Yeah. Okay, let's try again and see if they do it right. But the guys John D. Rockefeller was on the golf course when he found out that he lost in the Supreme Court, and that they'd have to break up Standard Oil. And before he finished the 18 holes, he was an elderly man when he did this. He said, "I'm now worth twice as what I was worth when we started this match."
Yeah, because I was going to sell it all off. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. So
I think I could put in competition, competitive payment channels, competitive platforms, compete with the fuckers, but they're going to prevent you from competing. They're going to cheat.
That's the problem. That's the problem. They're preventing you from being able to compete.
Yep. Yeah. Also because a lot of it's shared, right? A lot of the technology is shared. So someone controls that. In this case, what do we say? Parler let their back end technology platform expire.
They just use a free trial of it, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah.
But this free trial said it was good till February 15th. Why are you coming up? Read the fine print, sir.
Yeah.
But they should. But I think that if it were me, I'd be trying to think of a way. I'm trying to think of someone uber wealthy, and I was going to say Elon Musk, but is he an uber?
Elon Musk. Oh, I've read he's worth $209 billion all of a sudden.
Yeah, no, out of nowhere over the port. He's worth more than
Tesla's through the roof.
13 billion.
His company's through the roof.
This time last year, it was like 13 billion or something like that.
Not really profitable.
Their stock is through the roof.
Stocks are
no. It's a great company, and they got great technology, and I can see why the stock is through the roof, but they're not really profitable company, right? They make a great battery.
$200 billion in a year.
Yeah, they're running on a
pandemic,
aren't they?
Oh, yeah, in a pandemic, that's true.
Yeah.
So somebody like him, if he wanted to, if he had the if he wanted to do something with that. 200, what did you say? 209 billion?
$209 billion.
Holy fuck!
It would have to be
It's a lot of
something.
money.
It would have to be something like that. It would have to be
take
like
someone like him, a visionary.
like an Elon Musk, Joe Rogan partnership with whoever to get it off the ground. That's what it would have to be.
I think we all found out Joe Rogan likes the paycheck. He took the $100 million from Spotify, and I haven't seen him since, to be honest.
Good for him.
Yeah, exactly, right? Yeah. Now he's censoring everyone. But no, I think if you took a visionary like an entrepreneurial visionary with deep pockets and global connections, it could be Elon Musk. Why doesn't he launch his satellite in his space program? He has his own satellite systems. He could do a lot of things when you think about it.
That's true.
Elon's just working on monopolizing all of transportation in the United States. Electric cars, the trains, space travel. He's just going to control all transportation.
Even earthquake, Southern California, he has a plan for tunnels to alleviate traffic in Los Angeles.
Yeah,
underneath. Unbelievable. Like, holy shit.
That's pretty far.
It's the train that goes from LA all the way to Seattle, right?
That's part of it. No, just roads, but putting them underneath. But it's like you're on a fault line or you're just off of a fault line. And he's like, he did a whole thing on. I'm like, holy shit, this is actually pretty good. Yeah. So somebody like him.
I was actually thinking that almost go the complete opposite way.
Take the poorest man in the world to do something?
No.
What?
Let me go in a little more detail. No, not an entrepreneur. The government.
Ooh.
What is wrong?
A government.
You're talking RA's language.
All right. First off, no kidding. First off, how would it? I know what you're. Obviously, I understand you're why you're all a little.
I know you want a wildly inefficient platform.
Why would it be?
That all would go through the San Andreas fault.
What?
Let's connect LA to
platform,
Phoenix.
A platform that was run by the government, in theory, would have to uphold the First Amendment.
That's true. That's true. That's a good point.
They start planning now; it'll be done by fiscal year 2044.
I mean,
I'll be dead.
Yeah, I'm not saying it'll happen anytime.
Looking forward to it.
That's actually okay. That's interesting. I mean, RA's got the
terrible idea, but it's good in theory. But in execution,
that's exactly right.
Right.
Yeah, that was it.
Yes, and I'm not.
That's interesting though.
I mean, I think that's the biggest issue. There's whatever you do with private companies, they are at the end of the day they can say they're private companies unless there's massive legislative change. But I think that's less likely than.
Well, I mean,
Go ahead.
The way they're starting to regulate things, could you start arguing that they're becoming publishers rather than whatever the alternative is? Like, so if they're publishers, then they can't be doing what they're doing.
Then they're open to litigation for what they do.
Yeah.
Being a publisher does.
But I've listened to people talk about that too, and people say like repeal 230 and all that. I think the issue is if they do that, they would just go the extreme opposite way. So they would get rid of almost everyone based off a set of strict like new guidelines that they put out, and then unless you are like cut and dry, like couldn't be more in the mold of what they're looking for, then you're not on the platform for fear of violating whatever section 230 was.
Yeah, but do you want the government to oversee putting up Brandy Love's Twitter?
No, I don't. But I don't.
I do. I want to see what they would do with that. That interests me. Like I think that would be comical.
What Grassley from Iowa would say.
Ted Cruz would love it. Ted Cruz would sign right up for that.
No, I'm not sure about that. But like RA said, it's a good idea. I think execution would be a mess.
Yeah.
Let's fix the roads first.
Yeah.
I got a pothole I've been waiting, outside my front door for the past.
Our highway system is named after Eisenhower. I mean, it's 70 years old now. Come on.
That is true.
Trains.
All right. So,
Trains.
what we just talked about? We talked about the 1st, the 14th, and the 25th already.
25th. Yep.
Yeah.
Nice.
Look at us go.
Look at them go.
I want to change the topic a little bit. I'm sure everyone watching is sick of hearing about this stuff as much as we are. Let's talk about the amendments themselves, and let's get a little personal here. Well, I want to hear personal favorite and least favorite amendments. We'll go. What do you want to go, Ari? You want to go favorite or least favorite first?
I thought we were doing like a suggestion.
Oh, do you want to do
Are
the
we going to do a
change?
suggestion also?
Oh, this is interesting.
We can get the suggestion.
Yeah. So my least favorite,
Go ahead.
where is it? It's the income tax one.
Oh, God damn it.
Yeah,
Can I
He
go
does it
first?
every
Okay,
time.
KDL.
I'll just agree with him. I'm not even going to try to do it for one. I'm just going to agree with him on that
I'm
one.
just gonna agree. That's
Yeah,
absolutely.
the income tax one fucking sucks. Like, get off my dick.
Is that because you have to pay income tax? Is that why?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Now,
I mean, obviously, like the first, 13th, 19th, I don't know,
16th,
the hits are
the
good.
hits. The hits.
Yeah, you hate
The hits are good.
The 21st is the best one.
21st. I wish they would expand on the 22nd, which is the 2-term one. I wish they would expand that to Congress and other elected officials.
I agree.
Yeah.
I believe term limits and age limits. If there's a minimum age with which you can run for office, there should be a maximum age in which you are escorted. And just like an age, like 65 or 70, you should be getting on.
Can we just touch on that for a second? Because I agree with the age limit absolutely, but I was talking to someone and it kind of opened my eyes too with the term limit debate.
Yeah,
because I think we all on the surface say, fuck yeah, term limits. You know, God damn it, can't have these people in here for fucking life. But what would they be? Only because how do you plan strategically if you're going to have a rollover every 2 or 4 years in your elected officials? The guy replacing me,
I think you could plan more.
Toby agrees.
So it'd be I would say 2 Senate terms or 6 House terms.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. 12 years.
2 Senate terms. So
if you can't get shit done in 12 years, you shouldn't be in government.
Then there you go. Yeah. All right.
That's exactly what I was thinking. All right.
Yeah. And you can mix them up. You can do whatever you would like, but 12 years and you're gone. Like
and
you know
to also do that, you also have to cap you have to put some sort of cap on campaign spending by all, so that they're not wasting time campaigning and fundraising when they should be doing the government's business.
Mm-hmm.
I was
major campaign finance law.
Yeah. Well, something that could tie into that. I mean, lobbying is a big issue too, right? So
huge.
So people campaign, they get the campaign finance so they can continue to be in office. They continue to make money, get lobbyists, the whole thing. I had a thought recently, and I'm sounding like socialist KDL tonight. But what if you jacked up the pay for everyone in the government as a compromise? You jack it up. So this is the major leagues of government in our country, right? How much do you make? What do professional athletes get paid?
Too much, but we know you.
But you follow my point. So if you pay them that way, one, it could attract more people that are actually smart and successful and would rather maybe make a change instead of run a hedge fund or Twitter for life.
Mm-hmm.
If you increase the salary, it increases. Yeah, I don't know if
so kind of like teachers, right?
A little bit of a difference. There's a little bit more of a market saturation with teachers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But if you raise the pay, you'll get better, quality teachers, and they'll do a better job teaching your kids.
Yes. The newer teachers are young and vigorous and know the latest practices. The older ones might occasionally are a little bit stuck in their ways, a little bit.
Should be term limits for them too, I think, as well, because you do have the tenured teachers that have been there 40 years. Can't fire them; they got to work till they die.
All right, we're not turning this into an attack on our fine education,
system, public education system.
28th Amendment, get rid of public education.
Hashtag cancel student debt.
Going along with
I'm pumped. Let's go. I'm enrolling in classes right now.
So to touch on, I think, do we all agree?
Jack it up.
Do we all agree the 16th Amendment, which was the establishment of the income tax in 1913, is the four of us our least favorite?
Yeah, definitely.
That was going to be mine. So Austin, KDL.
I guess we'll say we can go with that.
So I was watching a thing on prohibition, and the reason why one of the steps that led to the establishment of the 16th Amendment was the groundswell of the temperance movement, which led to my other least favorite one. My second least favorite was the 18th Amendment. Prohibition. Because evidently this country had a huge index of the GDP was related to beer and whiskey and liquor sales.
Yeah.
And gradually the states began to through grassroots organizations implement drink or liquor prohibition, not full prohibition, but enough to really drive the business away. So that loss of federal income was so drastic that during Taft's administration, they began to serious talk about establishing a federal income tax to cover that deficit. There you go.
And it started through
as far back as the 1870s with the temperance movement. And what was that woman's name who would go in with the axe and smash up saloons? You know, back then. So yeah, that was one of the major factors they said in this was the loss of federal revenues.
What was the one sandwiched between the two? I don't know that one. What was the 17th?
17th is
direct election of United States
direct election.
Oh, okay.
Vote.
Popular vote in the state, RA.
Just saying.
Just saying.
Add that amendment too already.
You know what else is the popular vote in each state? The goddamn president.
Hey, all I'm gonna say is that if we had a popular vote, there wouldn't have been insurrection.
I don't want to have to put you back in your body bag for this episode. I was being cordial. All right. Yeah. I was being polite. So I was looking through one of the ones that one of my favorite ones. I remember learning about this, and even like way back, like elementary and middle school, the Fourth Amendment, because they had such PT. That's the basically soldiers can't come quarter in your house, essentially. And it sounds ridiculous now, but it shows the PTSD the founding fathers had from being forced to house British soldiers in their cities and all that.
Yeah.
So I just thought that was a kind of an interesting one that you could probably take off the books, not that you really have to.
You never know.
Reasonable searches and seizures. Yeah.
Yeah.
Second Amendment I can do without.
My caveat in this was the Bill of Rights I didn't even look at because I was looking at just the 11 through 20 amendments because those are good ones. The first 10 are pretty good. Pretty good. It's a good document, right, Austin?
It's a good document.
It's a good document.
It's a good document.
Great document.
Last week he was working when everything was going on. I sent him a message when he was still on Twitter. He's off since. I don't know if you've heard, but I sent him a video of what's going on. He goes, "That's not good."
Not good.
I almost sent it in. I was like, "Hot take, Austin." That's not good. It's not good.
Hot take. It's not good.
All right.
So
poignant.
What about favorites here?
So I was going to say favorite amendment. Do you want to do favorite or most important?
Well, you said favorite.
Favorite. All right, we'll do favorite. All right. Actually, no. Screw you. No, you're not going first. You steal everyone else's. Ned, go ahead.
I was going to take the 14th.
The 14th?
The 13th abolishes slavery, but it doesn't go the distance, and the 14th does, and it grants, since then, of course, it's been expounded on with all these other, but they really do say you can't no one can be denied the right to vote, except for women, of course, but no one can be denied the right to vote based on race or color. That's a big one. I don't think any other country had that at that time, unless I'm missing it.
The 15th?
Did a lot of countries have that problem?
The colonials did, sure.
Well, the UK banished slavery way before us.
No, this is the vote. This is the vote.
Oh, were they not allowed to vote still?
I don't think they were allowed to vote. And I was looking at France because I don't think France until the the Third Republic or the Fourth Republic. The Fifth Republic was de Gaulle. The one in the 1870s looked at the U.S. Constitution and lifted some articles, and that was one of them where they allowed for everyone could vote except for women, of course. But so people of color weren't really allowed to vote, and even if they weren't slaves.
Interesting. Was that the same?
That's my favorite one.
So that's the 15th you're looking at, right?
That is the 14th.
Yeah.
Section 1. 15 is the right of its citizens of the United States to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or any state on account of race, color, or previous condition of servitude.
15th. Sorry, 15th.
Oh no, the 14th is saying if you were born in the United States, you are
Also, the 14th is the one that we're
naturalized
talking about that
citizen.
Austin wants
Yeah,
to,
yeah.
want to use on Twitter. Sorry about. Can we edit this? 15th.
Go back. Yeah, Ned's usually
For
the
all
smart
those
one.
same reasons.
Ned's usually the smart historian.
No,
on this.
RA won that.
That is
RA
not a big 15th Amendment guy.
You're not?
He's
No,
been
Ned
saying
isn't.
that. He's
Oh,
been
Ned
saying
is
that.
not.
No, I am. I
Not what I
knew
just heard.
I was reading it, but I was
The
I
tape
believe,
it's going to be taken
someone
off
could clip
YouTube.
this.
There
I
we
believe
go.
someone could clip this and say no, and hear Ned saying no, not the 15th Amendment.
no,
Yeah, I believe-
no,
Yeah.
wrong.
You got a warning
No.
video behind that.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Austin? You got one?
21st Amendment, repealing the 18th Amendment.
Well, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just looking through them right now. I don't know.
It's so annoying
So,
though that they
all right,
actually
go ahead.
did that. They banned
I mean, they're all just
drinking
kind
and
of
then they
bad.
overrode it. It was like,
I don't even know the history. Like, why did they?
People are
ban
still
drinking?
doing it. Oh,
Well,
they
obviously
banned
they were
because
still
of,
doing it.
because the
People made
because the
fortunes
temper.
off it.
So they banned drinking. I remember at the time they banned drinking because at the time in the country, almost 50% of crimes committed had something to do with alcohol.
right. And also the states at the time had already put in their own
And a lot,
temperance,
yes,
pretty
and a lot of
strong
states were doing it.
temperance laws. So
It
the
was
wave,
it was tied up in the abolitionist movement as well. A lot of the early women suffragists were also pro abolitionist because they were or prohibitionists, not abolition. They were also pro abolitionist.
they were pro suffragettes
they
were
were-
prohibitionists because they were the victims
for
of,
prohibition. Yes, because
they felt they were the
like,
victims of,
like domestic abuse and stuff that came on
Okay,
from
that
alcohol.
makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah.
I think the 12th Amendment. I just find it like the 12th Amendment made it so that the president and the vice president were elected together. I just think it's and it was done in 1803. I think it's cool to see that they were able to make such a change like that very quickly early on in the age of the Constitution.
Yeah, I think they saw it didn't work having.
No, it didn't. It was a
didn't work.
stupid thing. I don't know why they had it the other way
Could
before.
you imagine Trump being Biden's vice president?
That'd be awesome.
Be a mess.
Could you imagine? Or Hillary.
Hillary
being-
as his vice
Hillary as
president?
Trump's- oh no! Actually, Trump would have been dead in months. Actually,
That's right.
it wouldn't have lasted long. It wouldn't have lasted long. All right, you want to go ahead?
I mean, aside from the layup, the First Amendment, I'll do the 22nd. I'm a big fan of term limits, so I'm going to stick to my guns.
You would like the 22nd Amendment to include all elected,
All elected officials,
All
yes.
elected.
of that. Yeah,
Wish they could
Yep.
expand on it.
I agree with that.
I
And
do.
they could
Now
all-
that's a good question. Can they expand on an existing
Why couldn't they add
amendment, and
yeah.
or they add a whole
Actually,
new
I
amendment?
don't. I think they'd have to add a new one, or else they would have amended the probe. Or though they
Well, no, because what they
How does that work? That's a
I
good
thought
question.
you
they
could amend
added on to the 15th.
I was
with the
going to say you can.
You know?
Yeah.
just add clauses?
But the 19th Amendment was added on to the 15th, but it was still its own new amendment.
Yeah, so it would be like the 28th Amendment would be like, term limits for members of Congress.
You're right. No, you're right, because the 19th was added.
Yeah.
It's almost part of the 15th.
Yeah.
It just extends it to women. So it would have
Yeah.
to be a full amendment.
It would be a new
Wow,
amendment.
that's a huge process.
Well,
As
you would
in-
need, yeah, but I don't know if it would ever.
Well,
Optimistic.
strategically, you start it like you did, like say abolition. You start it at the state level and put in term limits.
Well,
for
you
the state.
can. I don't know if
Swell.
people realize you can ratify amendments through the states.
That's
It's,
correct.
I believe it's 3/4 of the states required for ratification. Now, I don't believe that's a popular vote by the citizens. I believe that it has to be amended through the state legislature and then passed up.
Correct.
So that's not going to happen because most people in the state legislature are thinking.
Just say so the government has to approve term limits on themselves.
Right. Which is
Well,
what I'm
some-
saying. Bump those salaries up.
Ted Cruz.
Don't
Ted Cruz has proposed that.
And don't some
AOC has
states
proposed it as well.
don't some states already have local state level term limits?
Well, I know that the
Governor.
the Supreme Judicial
Governors
Court of
do. Some governors
Massachusetts,
do.
it's
Oh, they probably
70.
fucking
You're out at 70.
yeah, because that's another way.
And,
So we
that-
put an
and
age
that's the
cap,
Supreme Court of Massachusetts. So
but that's it.
I mean, there's yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Very
Yeah.
good. Very good.
I like the
thinking-
22nd.
I'm gonna be a little cliche, but let me explain myself here. I'm going with the Second Amendment. And I know, yeah. I say that only because I think it's really cool that a government explicitly allows its citizens to arm themselves. Like just the thought and the idea of that, and in the foresight in that, I think is it's a good example of where the founding fathers' mentality was for the entire document. Yeah,
like you said with the Fourth Amendment, with the they still have PTSD from being forced to quarter
the document
soldiers. Isn't it the same thing as like having a militia? Like you need when you're a super small new country, like you need an armed
right to bear arms.
Yeah, and I'm saying if they weren't like, wow, in 200 years this is going to work out well.
No,
I think they're like, holy shit, like we need a civilian militia like stat.
On the frontier, especially, I think.
Yeah.
Not so much for a foreign invasion, but I think it was for the frontier.
Mm-hmm.
Because the federal government couldn't patrol the Carolinas and Tennessee and Kentucky and out there.
You don't think they looked? So you think if there were no Native Americans in North America at all, that wouldn't have been in there?
I don't. That's a good question, but I
don't
know.
If they had no need for it, they probably wouldn't have put it in there.
Yeah. But I'm not thinking the need for it like that. I'm thinking, think about the role the militias played in the Revolutionary War.
Yeah,
and that's what I'm saying. They still had that fresh in their mind, like the Fourth Amendment.
But we had a continental army. We actually had two. We had the Southern Continental Army and the Northern Continental. So,
but they would have just left it as militias if, like, there's a reason it says right to keep and bear arms, not just militia, not just have
for a well-regulated
militia. It says
regulated militia,
right? It says right to keep and bear arms.
I think as a brand new country, they were just like, we got to get all the guns we can get.
You have no faith in the founding fathers. This is unbelievable.
Well, the other thing too wasn't it interpreted
big
also?
Founding fathers guy.
This is doesn't seem to be.
They had some good ideas.
You don't hear that often. Big founding
fathers thought it was cool to own people. All right, like I've got a couple of they weren't all that great.
All right, well,
a couple of them owned people. Like
people make mistakes.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But also, wasn't the right to keep and bear arms for also I don't know if the government became a tyranny.
Right.
Was that part? I mean, according to Jefferson, yes. According to Adams, probably not.
Well, according to Jefferson was the one that said
the Tree of Liberty, every 20 years, the Tree of Liberty should be like watered with blood. He was
drenched in blood or soaked in blood.
The guy who was hiding from British soldiers, as the governor of Virginia. But I also think there was an aspect to that too. It's like, well, I don't want the tyranny of the government in Washington or New York at the time to infringe upon my civil liberties. But I'm not sure about that.
I just think
it sounds great, but I don't think that's.
I just think at the very least I just think it's a potential fail-safe to ensure the rest of the document gets carried out. Or at least an attempt at a fail-safe, which I mean, other contracts between the people and the government are just basically pieces of paper. What's preventing them from breaching it? Whereas I think the Second Amendment's like a fail-safe for that, or at least an attempt at. Again, it's not, when the government has Predator missiles, it's kind of tough to, oh, hey, I got my, hunting rifle. I think I can defend myself with it. Yeah,
got my
long barrel flintlock.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But cool. Any other thoughts on that, boys, or how do we feel about the Constitution? I already hate
should update it.
Ned,
Stupid.
Constitution thoughts?
Good work.
Fucking dumb.
Austin, what do you think? Let's hear some insight. Thoughts on the Constitution?
Good piece of work.
It's good piece of work.
It's good. Solid.
It's good.
Solid piece of paper.
Very good. Good work.
At least a B, right? At least a B.
That's something. I'm going to do some homework. I'm sure there's been some text written on how the Constitution, the Bill of Rights were discussed and how they came to be. Maybe in there you see some logic behind the Second Amendment.
Ned, we talked about it a little bit in our first episode on the Constitution. You can go back and watch. You can
I know, but I mean, I mean, there's some text somewhere, like actual, like who proposed it, how was it proposed, who was in favor of it. I'd like to read about that.
Yeah, it's great with that, and you got the Federalist Papers. We didn't really get a chance to touch on.
No, we didn't touch on that either.
That's a good one too.
It's actually really good.
Basically, lays out actually that's probably what you're looking for. Now, the Federalist Papers basically lay out the reasoning behind essentially everything going into the Constitution.
Oh, I read that in college. I haven't read it since. So
the Federalist Papers basically explain
Publius. Yeah. Another good document, Austin. Federalist Papers. Good document.
Good document. Good set.
Good work.
All right. Cool. So we'll wrap this up here. Ned has to go do
All aboard. That's
All
right.
aboard. That has to go to all aboard.
I have to go to.
That has to go to all aboard.
God, I gotta change the name of that show.
Yeah.
As always, be sure to like, subscribe, mash that like button, share. Follow us on social, except Austin from New London. # Twitterless Austin. At R.A. Menahan. He's not snark. You know who he is. You'll find him. And then at Deadpool_Kirk for myself. You see my lists. They are world famous at this point. Thank you all for watching, and we will see you soon.
Sic Semper Tyrannis.